full of cigarettes. I've been through about 2 packs today, right? Maybe had about 6 cups of coffee. All right?
Cool.
And you're eating the garbage they put in your food, okay?
Chemicals.
The drug in the name of the drug war, however, you may or may not realize this, but in fighting the war on drugs, you've lost a great deal of your civil rights, all right? My life and my vocation now, since I can't become employed, is defending my case. It's taken up a lot of time, and it's pretty hard to get hired when you're the great Satan and when people recognize you. You know, I'm a bad guy. So it's given me a lot of time to read, and it's also given me a lot of time to think. And when I think about drugs and laws and how lawmakers are warping laws so they can bust into your home without a warrant, search and seize your property, plan it on you, manipulate, do anything practically by the book, when the Supreme Court backs up evidence, right, that was seized illegally and says it's permissible to enter this into court, that is a crime. That's the real great Satan. That's the real devil, you know. The worst thing that's happened with the drug wars isn't really the civil war that's happening in these cities over it, and every cocaine gang, where I'm sure you might live near one in Tucson, because it happens here too. This is the 12th most violent city in the nation, and a lot of it is over dope. But the worst thing is, whether you do drugs or not, when you're walking down the street now, you're more liable to be pulled off and drugged to jail for a lot less cause than even 20 years ago. And I'm not too old, but I remember a time when it wasn't like that.
True.
And in the name of drugs, the rest of your civil rights that have nothing to do with doing drugs are shriveled away, and it's opened the door. Not only can they search for drugs, but they can search for your private effects, for your diary, all incidental, you know? They can page through that like a Gestapo, and they can open up your life. This is what's happening, and it's going to get worse. I think this is a tyrannical government, not just because I'm being indicted, because of what I've seen before. That's why I did this television show. I don't have a right to do a television show for 90 days. That's what happened. They shut me up. They censored me. And you're losing a lot of your freedom of speech. You're losing a lot of your First Amendment. I'd encourage you to read up on that. If you learn anything in school, do that. Learn about what's sovereign and God-given to you, if you want to use that term, whoever gives it to you. That's what's happening with the drug wars. Whether you want to do them or whether you want to say it's okay, you know, there are mayors of cities who have endorsed legalizing drugs. Schmoke in Baltimore, you know. Maybe they should do that in New York, where I just came from.
I'm from New York.
What part?
Brooklyn.
Yeah. You know what's happening there.
Yep.
It's a civil war. Is that why you left?
Well, no, I'm going back pretty soon. But, you know.
You miss it.
I'm going, yeah. I get homesick, but the thing is, as soon as I get there, I'd say, why am I doing here again?
You
know,
right there.
I get homesick, but when I get there, I don't want to be there.
Right.
You know, I see how things are in the streets. Okay, I've been in the streets all my life. Okay, I've been in the streets since the age of 11 to now.
Right.
Okay, I've handled myself. I think I've raised myself in my own ways, and I'm still surviving. Okay, so there's got to be something good out there.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh. But aren't you more inclined not to go out at night in Brooklyn to avoid being in a crossfire?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the minute, okay, it is known the minute you walk out of your door, you're taking a chance of getting shot. The minute you walk out your door.
Now, a good deal of this has to do with drugs, right?
Yeah, it's got to do with drugs.
Right.
Okay.
It has to do with money and greed and the way the system works. If everybody wanted a piece of aluminum in their pocket, not to get high, but just needed to have it, or gold, if that were the big thing, they'd be killing themselves over that too.
Sure.
So, but instead, the people with the bygone standards and moralities who are currently running this country, and most localities, Tucson included, is a very conservative place, I think, they're going to prop up their attempt to chisel away your civil rights with a legitimate concern that maybe, yeah, drugs are tearing apart a neighborhood, but they're going to use that to encroach on everything else too.
Yeah.
What was that?
So not only do you not have a right.
True.
Everything is political. Like, if you don't have money, if you're not in the right position, well then you're screwed, you know.
So a kid is more inclined to go out and make money on the street if he wants to get out of his tenement apartment, right? And if he wants to get out of a place where he's sleeping on the floor with 14 other people because of the abject poverty in this country. created by the greedy.
How to kill that face.
So how do you feel about drug legalization?
Well, I think it's worth a shot. I would like to see an experiment.
try it out.
Baltimore might be a good case experiment. You know, a good.
Well, Baltimore's already started.
Yeah.
They have started already.
They've decriminalized it. I'm not up on.
They have started with marijuana over there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because as I have a friend of mine that's from Baltimore, and he goes to New York a lot, and it's like lately the last time that he came to my house, he was like, oh, he smokes right there, right in front of the police station. He rolls up his joint and he smokes.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. You know, so
New York was like that some years ago.
Yeah.
The smoke shops where you know,
To my
people could
knowledge-
just stick the money under the slot.
Yeah.
And
or in through the doorknobs or something. They take out the doorknob and you put it in through there and all that.
yeah.
And, you know, there's lots of ways of selling drugs now. Okay, they got the pee hole where you push it out, you put the money in there, and they put the drugs back out the same way.
Right. You never see the guy.
No,
Yeah.
you never see the guy, not
Right.
once.
Some of the offices and stuff in New York.
Yeah. Okay, I mean, it's crazy. Drugs in New York, I mean, I've been in New York and Miami, and I think Miami, to me, has been the highest that I've seen in drugs.
Yeah. Well, look how
Okay.
close it is to where.
Cuba.
Where they're making
Cuba
it, yeah.
and the Dominican Republic. I mean, it's coming straight from Colombia and stuff
And
like
they
that.
made a movie about that for
Yeah.
NBC, didn't they?
Well, what do you think? Did you ever hear this idea that maybe the Bush and Reagan administration are involved in importing this product?
I would not doubt it.
I would not doubt that.
Right.
I wouldn't.
I mean, there's millions that are being manufactured, millions of dollars of a product being manufactured. And this is the capital of capitalism. This is the New World Order, money. Okay, so don't you think that the government might want to be involved and get a little piece of the action?
That's probably why they're not advocating legalization.
That's probably why he went down and grabbed Noriega before he started spilling the beans. Maybe, just maybe.
It's evil, it's scourge, it's helping us make a lot of money and screw you over. So, of course.
It would take a lot of violence off the street to legalize it, I think.
I think it would too.
Because it's like Prohibition in Chicago, if you know anything about the gang wars. When booze became illegal, you needed to go to a speakeasy to get it.
Yeah.
If the speakeasy wanted it, they had to have a distributor, and there had to be a manufacturer. And it was illegal to distribute or manufacture it. However, highly profitable. So you'd have a string of dead bodies in Chicago every now and then because booze was illegal, and people wanted it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, people want to feel joy anyhow, you know, a good drunk, a good high, something different from the version of reality you got to live with every day on this planet. You know?
So I guess we should go to another call. Right? Line 2.
Hey, give the great Satan a hit of acid, man.
You wouldn't want to do that. Don't sneak one on me.
Line 1.
Hey, you're talking about how making drugs legal would be good and everything, but the guy sitting right next to you, he said how he's talking about how he ruined his life.
That's right.
Yeah.
It ain't. I don't want drugs legalized. Okay, I'm against what he says. Okay, I'm against any kind of drugs. Okay, why? Because I went through that experience, and for people who really step through that kind of experience, I guess they might either feel the same way or they might not. You know, it's up to the individual.
What does he know compared to you about drugs?
I don't know. I don't know what type of drugs he's done if he ever did, but I've done every drug in the book that you can name, except for ice and that just came out.
Have you
Okay.
ever done drugs?
Me?
No, the other guy, the Satan dude.
Have you ever done drugs?
I'm not the Satan dude.
Like I said, if you drink coffee, smoke cigarettes, or ingest any kind of substance, you're doing drugs.
Yeah.
When you snort a lot of cocaine, you're doing some poison with a very high level of very high level, number one, of your consciousness change, and number two, of what you're ingesting. You know, if you sit there and eat 20 sirloin steaks, your stomach is going to need to be pumped.
Yeah.
And but you're going to feel different after you eat meat. Okay. Anytime you eat, it changes your chemical composition.
Anytime
You know,
you eat
there's a corporation, Monsanto. Without chemicals, life itself would be impossible.
Yeah.
You see, that's why I think could be construed as a very evil conspiratorial thing on the part of the government to ship these doses of chemicals. It would be almost as if the dealer is forcing you to eat 20 chickens a day or 2 dozen eggs at every setting. Anything you do in excess is bad for you.
Yeah.
You can become